much more impressionable. And I do believe they are also grappling with a lot of these same questions and conversations that you and I are having right now and try to make sense of, okay, what is the right way?
I made a video the other day. I said, I predict that America will become a Muslim country. I wholeheartedly believe this. Over a long enough time horizon, America will be a Muslim country. It won't become a Muslim country because of people immigrating there who are already Muslims. It won't become a Muslim country through people forcing people to take their Shahada. It will become a Muslim country by the vast majority of people just waking up, just like I did. I'm an antidote of it. There will just be millions more of canyons. That's what's going to happen. Because the younger generation has never been so receptive to Islam. And the best part, this is the best part, the reason why I think Islam is going to grow so much is because the younger generation no longer believes the media. The average 20-year-old doesn't believe a single thing the media tells them, right? They're like, I know the media is lying to me. I know I can't trust the media. So if the media is telling me Muslims are horrible people, I'm not going to believe that. And that's just going to lead more people to looking into the religion. The more people look into the religion, and because they don't believe the media, they're going to have no negative opinions on Islam. They're going to have an objective view. And anybody, absolutely anybody, who reads the Quran with an objective...
Okay, so there's a lot of problems with what he said, and may Allah forgive me for being a pessimist, and I don't want to fall into ghaiba or namima, backbiting or anything like that. But I guess this is coming from my lived experience, from formerly living in America and seeing the dynamics of Islam in America, basically. He's totally wrong, and I'm just going to give my reasons why he's wrong. But I hate to say this, but the reason why he's given a platform to say what he's saying is the simple fact that he has the complexion for the protection, And I say this because Islam has been in America since America's inception. Unfortunately, it first came to America through the human trafficking of Africans to the shores of America by way of his ancestors. But then the second wave of Islam was not even, some people think that the Nation of Islam kind of really put things in motion. But I believe that even before the Nation of Islam, there was this.
This was really significant. Actually, 1918. In 1918, we find Sheikh Dawood Faisal, who actually starts the first Black Sunni Muslim mission inside of New York. Now, this is actually 1918. He and his wife start not only the Muslim mission, which is like a nonprofit organization, they also start the Bronx Mosque. So his wife, which is Lady Khadija, also starts the Muslim Ladies Society. And so this Ladies Society was known that not only they would have classes together, but they would also have like womanhood training. Now, both Dawood Faisal and his wife were responsible for leading this movement together. Something very unique about Dawood Faisal and his wife. They were both jazz musicians. This is
So the fact of the matter is, in 1918, as she said, and this is before the Nation of Islam, you had Sunni Muslims in America, in New York. So the question would be then, why has America, right, not brought this to the forefront? Why don't they talk about it? And why doesn't, like, for example, this platform that this man was on highlight that? And I say this because, again, and this is going to be harsh to what I'm about to say is going to be very harsh, but the average brown Muslim from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and even the Arab Muslim thinks that if you become a better house nigga, that the Anglo-European is going to be more receptive to you. That's what they think. They think that by representing the religion and trying to be the best example for the religion for them will somehow, will somehow sway what they think. The problem with that is that if these Sunni jazz musicians who were making an honorable living playing jazz, if they didn't get notoriety and what have you, what makes you think that it's going to work for you? So, another issue is they're co-religionists, or so they say. Christians are on a campaign in order to make sure that the status quo stays, even though it's not working, even though that more men are not going to church, even though that many people are basically leaving the church. Many people are not even entertaining the church. So although it's we know what's happening, they're still going to let it continue to happen. And in order for example, Islam to take sway in America, basically you would have to change the order of the day in America. Meaning the what controls America right now is, I would say, 3 factors. Allah Kulli Shay'in Qadir. Allah has power over everything, right? But I would say that what controls America as of right now are 3 factors. Number 1, Israel, the Zionist state. Number 2, white exceptionalism. And number 3, liberalism. These 3 work, cohesively with one another. So the problem with what he said is the simple fact that, you're still seeing young people who are actually more non-religious than ever before. And those who come into Islam are doing it, only Allah knows the hearts. But people are doing it for clicks and views and likes, for the most part. An example of this can be seen with Brittany Renner, who basically did so because she thought she was going to shack up with Kevin Gates, and that shack up was going to last. This is what is happening, and this is what will continue to happen. The whole thing is this. The ulama, the righteous ulama that we should be taking from, are not on social media. They're usually teaching dars in another place, They're usually teaching dars in a very private setting. And what they're teaching, a lot of the Karen and Ken converts are not going to really like. I have a book from a Syrian scholar by the name of Sheikh Abdul Hadi Karash. In this book, he writes, okay, and this is this is based off of getting his evidence from original sources. He said that there's 2 points that I want to read to you, and you tell me if the average Karen convert or even the liberalized born Muslim in America, the liberalized one, the liberalized South Asian Muslim, the liberalized Somali Muslim, the liberalized, unfortunately, our community has it too, the liberalized West African Muslim, the liberalized Arab Muslim, you tell me if they're gonna agree with what's said. So he says the professional woman who works outside the home in the daytime and is with her husband at night. If her husband prohibits her from going out and she disobeys him and goes out regardless, she is not entitled to any financial support as long as she is out. And then it also says the contumacious wife, i.e., the one who disobeys her husband and leaves her house without his permission, without a valid justification in the revealed law, her right to financial support is suspended for the duration of her contumacy. She is also contumacious if the house they are living in is her property and she does not let him enter the room she is in. As long as she has not asked him to move them to another house and he has not done so, she does not reclaim the financial support that she lost while she is contumacious, even if she leaves her contumacy. So that basically tells you everything that you need to know. Now, also in a healthy society, say if a man does fall on hard financial times, right? Then what happens is that like financial support will be allocated to the couple in order for them to get through, weather the storm, basically, you know what I mean. And then also what needs to be said what needs to be said as well is that it's up to the husband how much he wants to allocate towards his wife for like food. If a wife decides, oh, I'm just going to spend all money on food, like how some of these women try to go on dates and they try to order everything, then that's not allowed either. So what I try to do is I try to take from the sources, the original sources, when it comes to even constructing my videos. I am a follower of the minhaj of Shehu Damfodio, Rahimahullah. And so, many will say, right? Many will say that, hey, these women, Allah forgives the sins of people. And it's true. Yes, Allah forgives. When you come into Islam, you're better than me because your sins are forgiven. However, it needs to be said that you can't, the past leaves a scar, okay? Especially if your past includes taking random dinglings, okay? There's no way around it, okay? So when people try to tell you and try to guilt trip you into they try to guilt trip you into, I want to say, accepting these women then, you know, this is his idea probably of how Islam will grow. You know, he thinks that because Allah is forgiving, you know, he thinks because Allah is forgiving and what have you, that it's just gonna be basically business as usual. You know what I mean? But that's not the case, okay? It really isn't the case, and we see it imploding right now, okay? The fact that, for example, in America, there is a marriage crisis with Muslims, okay? There's also, unfortunately, I hate to say it, you know, and I'm just gonna say it, but there's unfortunately also a adultery crisis with Muslims. You're having kids outside of marriage who are from the Muslim community. So again, I think this guy who's speaking is just kind of like overzealous. That's how some converts come into the religion. They, you know, at first they're a little bit overzealous and things like that, but they can't see the writing on the wall. They can't see the political situation because, like, listen, if they were really about that life and what Islam entails, then they would be like belt to ass on their government about what they're doing in Muslim countries, you know, and what they're spreading in Muslim countries. But on the flip side, they would also be trying to combat what their people are spreading in their own countries, being liberalism, feminism, and the like thereof. Okay. You'll be surprised how many Muslim women that I go back and forth with on Instagram. And I try to keep it brief, you know, because even this text that I'm looking at right now is translated to to English. Even parenting in the Islamic context would you know, would go against you know, would go against, I want to say, will go against the American way of raising the kids. Let me try to find something that I want to read. And this actually makes a lot of women mad. And it triggers a lot of women. I'm gonna just end the I'm just gonna end the video on this note. You know, of course Allah can do anything he wants to do, but it's not, it's the problem is that one of my teachers, may Allah preserve him, actually said that each year will become worse than the last year. And, you know, we see it playing out right before our very eyes. You know, we see it playing out right before our eyes. And I don't think there's any prophetic evidence in the hadith that says that America will become like a Muslim country, or that, you know, Islam will just hit the West. I think maybe if it said something about Islam hitting the West mostly, it was in regards to Muslim Spain. I don't know. Allah knows best. But I'm just going to leave it with this. I'm just going to leave it, and then I'm going to end the video. It basically said, for example, and this book is from, you know, the brother of Sheikh Usman Danfodio, Rahimahullah. I blindly follow his minhaj, by the way. The minhaj of Sheikh Usman Danfodio, Rahimahullah, I blindly follow it because it's based in our original sources, the Kitab, the Sunnah, and the consensus of the scholars. It's not based on, like, for example, someone's naps or something like that. So it says, okay, it basically says that it says when the child attains the time of nursing, its parents should make sure that its nursing hidanat is done by a righteous woman. Imara atan salihatan, who only consumes what is permissible. Halal. This is because milk that originates al-laban al-hasal from that which is prohibited al-haram eventually corrupts the heart of the nursing child. So I hate to say this, and I'm just going to end it on this note. So when you see, like, for example, the degeneracy of these children, when you see the fact that some mothers, yes, some mothers are actually encouraging their children to be changed from the opposite gender, or be involved sexually with the same gender, then you know that that milk already effed them up and that they're finito. Hence why, hence why I had to be in tunnel vision when I was in America, because, like, I would say it's very, very few and far between that there would be a righteous woman to actually have a family with, because I would be responsible for that child's upbringing, things like that. And so when you look at these women, come on now, man, you see what they're doing on social media, you see what they're pushing on social media, it would be a wrap. Okay, the milk hitting that child, finito, finished. Okay, and I actually posted this on Instagram, and people came for me in the comment section, not knowing that I got this from a reliable source, a very reliable source. And I'm gonna just end it on this note. That's one of the reasons why he's saying that Islam would come and spread in America, because he's speaking it from a white privileged standpoint, okay? But it's been in America. That's my whole point. So, with this being said, be prepared. You're going to see more of these TikTok Muslims, these Google Muslims, these Instagram Muslims saying outrageous things. But if you are a sincere person, then you obviously are going to seek the original sources of Islam. You obviously are going to seek the guidance from ulama, who are probably not going to be on social media. You're obviously going to seek guidance from those who are less well known, but they are speaking from the original sources. Okay. And with that being said, may Allah forgive me for coming at him, but for me, he's just speaking utter gibberish, And I have to just call it how it is. I just have to do that. But anyhow, leave your thoughts, leave your comments. Fuller signing out, and John Rama.